Ben Franklin who said that direct democracy and a national popular vote would be like two wolves and a lamb voting on what to eat for dinner. Hi, I'm Trevor Brooks, and I'm a political science major at Bridgewater College. And my question for you is, do you want to protect that lamb? Because not everyone in this country does. According to Politico, 16 of the 2020 Democratic primary candidates wanted to abolish the Electoral College. 5 of them, including Joe Biden, did not. Now, according to Jesse Wegman, who is a New York Times columnist who has opposed the college for years, many people want to abolish the college because 1, they believe that it is not fair and the opposite of democracy. 2, they believe that it has racist origins and is discriminatory in its practice. And 3, they believe that the idea that it protects the minority is a myth. And while some of these claims are fair, when you actually use logic and all the evidence presented, they fall short of actually holding any water. So to the idea that a direct popular vote would be more democratic and more fair, you have to remember that America is not a direct democracy. We were never meant to be. We are a republic. According to the Heritage Foundation, the founders recognized that they needed to institute checks on the will of the majority. This is because the majority can be swayed by a charismatic leader to do terrible things to the minority. You have to have these protections in place to protect your minority of people. For example, in the 1930s, Adolf Hitler was able to sway the majority of people to do terrible things. The founders used ancient Athens, one of the greatest direct democracies in the world, of what not to do. In the Peloponnesian War, the Athenians voted in favor of a plan by a man named Alcibiades to invade Sicily. The majority of people didn't really understand what was going on in the war. The minority of people dissented, but the minority were the oligarchs and the knights who understood what was happening. But Alcibiades was able to use fear-mongering and his charismatic principles to persuade the majority of people to go along with his plan. This led to the fall of Athens. The American founders understood that there needs to be a check on the people. That is why the Electoral College was instituted, to protect the minority of people from the majority, because they recognize that the minority can contribute to the overall community. The next charge is that the Electoral College is somehow racist in history and in practice, and this isn't really true. According to MSN, both Carolinas and Georgia originally opposed the Electoral College in the Constitutional Convention, whereas every single free northern state supported it. And if the Electoral College was racist, it did a pretty bad job, as it allowed for Abraham Lincoln to win in 1860, as he only garnered 40% of the national popular vote. In today's world, the Electoral College allows states with a high concentration of minorities, such as Alaska, Hawaii, Delaware, and Washington, D.C., to have a more powerful voice in Washington and in choosing the presidency. This is why the NAACP and the National Urban League have actually campaigned for the Electoral College ever since the 1970s. This idea that the Electoral College is racist is perpetuated by smaller states that have a higher concentration of white people having more power. Whereas really it's a system that doesn't discriminate. It does not see color. It sees smaller states in minority versus majority opinions. This is a common misconception that is sweeping the nation, as people have learned to forget history. The final issue that's raised with the Electoral College is that it doesn't work how it was supposed to. This is because candidates now warp their views to win swing states instead of smaller states. And while this may have some truth to it, people who want to abolish the Electoral College miss the bigger issue, and that is the oppressive majority of city voters. According to the United States Census, over 62% of Americans live in cities that represent 3.5% of the land area. This is supported by this population density map, and it is a very startling statistic, especially if a national popular vote gets instituted. This is because if I'm a politician, all I will do is focus on cities. It is not a stretch to see that cities vote similarly. Just look at the Electoral College map from this year or years previous, or the fact that Donald Trump won over 2,000 of counties compared to Hillary Clinton's less than 500, and this is according to the Associated Press and verified by Snopes. Should we institute a national popular vote, all of a sudden, The people that put food on our tables and clothes on our backs don't have a voice. They will be the minority. They will be the sheep that who will go unheard of in the debate between the two wolves on who to eat. All of a sudden, we lose a big part of our political community because we won't have to listen to them to win the popular vote. It makes no sense for a politician to spend money and resources on winning a county with 100 people when they can go to a city block that has twice as many of those votes. It doesn't make any sense. So please, to protect the minority of people that put food on your plates, clothes on your back, that work hard so that we don't have to provide for ourselves so we can live in cities, please protect them. So share this video on Instagram, Facebook, social media. Share this video to people who need to hear it. Do your own research. The Heritage Foundation is a great place to read. Preserve American democracy how it was intended. Protect the sheep.